Millions of people across the country already have marijuana convictions on their records. With the 2019 decriminalization of small amounts of marijuana came the opportunity for those records to start being expunged, opening doors for jobs and other opportunities that were once closed off to them.
But it could also lead to more people driving vehicles while impaired, creating an avenue for tragedy. And this is one part of the controversial topic that the experts we spoke to across the country all seem to agree on.
One of the things that New York has done, which I think is a good idea, New York State, is last year they actually decriminalized having small amounts of marijuana.
In June of 2019, New York passed a measure to decriminalize marijuana. Syracuse City Drug Court Judge James CECILE works directly with people who have marijuana convictions and says there's a clear disparity between the people who are charged and those who aren't.
In the poorer communities where there's people of color, they are arrested more. And studies easily show this, they're arrested more than us in a suburban white community. And, it gives them criminal records, it keeps them from getting housing and things like that.
With decriminalization came the automatic expungement of any marijuana possession convictions of 2 ounces or less that occurred prior to June of 2019. According to the state, at the time this measure passed, there were approximately 160,000 people with records that, under the new guidelines, could be expunged. However, these expungements aren't immediate. According to the state, it will take until late August of 2020 for the records to be entirely cleared. Kevin SABET wants to fix the racial imbalance of marijuana convictions. He's the president of Smart Approaches to Marijuana, a group that advocates for decriminalization across the country.
I think we can remove criminal penalties, expunge records, not arrest young people, give people education, treatment without legalizing.
SABET says people will use marijuana no matter what, so he believes decriminalization is the best option.
So I think you can have a smart policy that doesn't criminalize low-level possession, but also doesn't legalize it either, because I think promoting today's high-potent marijuana is a big mistake.
CECILE agrees with Governor Andrew Cuomo and the state's move to decriminalize marijuana.
From a standpoint of a social justice, in terms of decriminalizing small amounts of marijuana so it doesn't affect people for the rest of their lives in terms of criminal conviction, I think that was a great idea that New York State had. And I think that's as far as they should go.
Still, critics say decriminalizing marijuana could lead to more impaired driving. According to a U.S. Department of Transportation study, from 2007 to 2014, the number of weekend nighttime drivers under the influence of marijuana rose 48%.
The statistics in some states are clear. Impairment is more significant and impairment is more widespread when more drugs are legalized.
Scott MacFarlane is an investigative journalist for NBC News and has done extensive coverage on marijuana laws in Washington, D.C. He says the nation lacks a road test to hold drivers accountable who are impaired by marijuana use.
They don't have a breathalyzer. They don't have a roadside breathalyzer, put your face up to this and breathe, test for marijuana use.
Stanford University professor of psychiatry Keith Humphreys says that without a test like this, it's easier to prosecute someone for driving under the influence of alcohol than it is for marijuana.
You can test positive when you haven't smoked in a week, if you're a heavy user, because it's lipophilic, stays in the body. We don't know the standard of how much cannabis means you're impaired.
Humphreys believes that there needs to be a cultural shift in society where people condemn those who drive under the influence of marijuana. He acknowledges that will take time.
The number one thing that stops people is not police. It's their own knowledge, their own sense that this is something wrong, and also their friends saying, hey, can I call you an Uber or can I give you a ride home?
While safety seems imperative, MacFarlane thinks tax dollars are the reason some states are pushing to legalize the plant.
Putting other people in danger on the road if you're driving impaired. You certainly are. Lives will be cost, and that transcends dollars and cents.
To some, legalization is a battle between life and money.
The most important issue is that many people don't understand that there are policy options between arresting tons of people and throwing them in jail and ruining their lives for smoking marijuana on the one hand, and then on the other hand, having a clone of the tobacco industry, which is a for-profit, aggressively pushing an addictive drug.
Much of the conversation around marijuana includes money. It is the very foundation of the United States, and opinions vary. Some saying that a life is not worth the revenue marijuana brings in, while others say the plant will create opportunity with the money.
Legalizing marijuana could help those with prior convictions, but is it encouraging illegal sales? Coming up, experts tell us what legalization could mean for the black market.